Redland Club. Is it Redland? Redcliffe Club, sorry. Redcliffe Club. To join them in a fox hunt. Okay. We played around with that a little bit 6-8 months ago. We built our little yagis and so forth. Anyone that's interested in joining their club for a fox hunt, they've invited several clubs in the area. They're still not sure whether it's going to be a car-based one, in other words, antennas on the vehicles and driving around, or a foot slog one through a park or something to help locate the fox. We haven't had any practice at it, but you know, worst case, it's a day out. It's good fun. So if anyone's interested in that, if they can get back to me within the next week, and I'll be talking with the president of their club and trying to organise a date somewhere around September. Okay, I haven't got a firm date yet.
I haven't said where, location-wise yet?
No. It depends on numbers, I guess. Yeah. Car boot sale, is it? Yeah.
Redcliffe. Sunshine.
Redcliffe, yes. And yeah, Sunshine Coast Club has got a Hamfest coming up. That's usually quite a good one to go to. I usually go down the night before, stay overnight, go to the festivities there, and then come back the next day. Anyone that like to go down to that might be a good club event as well. What else? Oh, we're going to have a committee meeting next week, and one of the things I want to discuss at a committee meeting is Christmas party. Now you might think, oh, it's a bit early for a Christmas party, isn't it? But time goes just like that. We're already into August, and if we don't make bookings, there's 80 members in the club now, double that, 160 with your partners, kids, whatever. So we've got to book a decent venue if we want to do it that way. Maybe we just want to do it in the park again, like we did a couple of years ago. That was fine as well. So let me know. I've sent out an email to you all. Get back to me what your preferences are. If you'd like to attend, what you would like to do. Go to a club somewhere or do it in the park, under the trees, whatever. Just let me know. It's for you guys, you know, and your families. So it's not really the committee to say this is what we're going to do. You tell us what you want to do, you know. All right, so I think that's all I had to talk about. Colin just wants to reiterate a little bit about the contests coming up in the near future. We've got one coming up.
Talk to Jeff first, he said.
Oh, Jeff first, okay. We just recently had a Bunnings barbecue at Capella Bar, was it? Yes, and apparently the take was one of the best that we've ever had. So I'll throw it over to Jeff to say a few words.
Yeah, just quickly, there was with cash sales, each time we have it now, the credit sales are higher and the cash ones are going lower, which is good. So we had $986.90 worth of cash sales, $1,641 worth of credit card sales. We have to pay $31.30 out of that to the square reader. They charge us 1.something%. Anyhow, so we had total sales of $2,596, and we had expenses of $829.44. So the end result was a profit of $1,767 and 16 cents. And the extra dollar, the Bunnings now with our sausage, you know, $2.50, $3.50 makes it worthwhile. So good effort. I don't know if George is here tonight, is he?
No. It's a good thing the committee went there.
Yeah.
He's gone away and
Okay, thanks, Jeff. And on behalf of the club, I'd like to thank everybody that took part in the sausage sizzle. As you can see, it is a major part of our fundraising through the year, and that was a brilliant effort. The weather was on their side, I guess, and sales continued throughout the day. Thank you very much for that, fellas. Okay, Colin?
Yeah, so we're doing the International Lighthouse Light Ship Day again. Weekend, but we're doing the Saturday, and we're going to meet at the museum here. Well, I guess this is where everything is now.
So what date was it again, Colin?
It's the 19th of this month. So we're meeting here to pick up the gear at about 7 o'clock, and the event will start at 10 o'clock. And just go on until we've all had dinner, basically. It usually fades away around about 4 or 5 o'clock. We'll just be on SSB this time, although in the future I would like to have a go at CW as well. I think that's an important one. It's an annual one for the club. The club's done it for years, so it's good to keep that tradition going. So, big invitation to everybody to come along at some point, and hopefully somebody will have a go at operating as well. It's good fun. There's no pressure. It's not a competition. But my plan is to actually do some logging just for the practice. It's an area that we definitely need some practice. That's it, guys. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Colin. As Colin mentioned, it's not a contest as such, so it's a fantastic opportunity if you haven't done it before to get the practice in. Sit down, play with the radio, do the logging, etc., etc. Now, we don't know how to do the logging, so at great expense to the club, we've flown in Diane here. VK4, DI, Diane Main. And Diane is a contest manager for the WIA Shires contest.
And now I'm a committee member for the DX as of Saturday.
Okay,
The
congratulations.
The OM.
Hey?
The OM.
Him?
Went back. The old man.
Him? Oh, he's fine.
Went back.
He's okay.
Okay, so yeah, we'd like to welcome Diane down. Diane graciously volunteered her time to come down and give us a bit of a talk on contesting and so forth. We're still new at the game. We have a lot of fun at it, but Diane's pretty much an expert in it, so
Oh, no.
she can
What, the drip under pressure?
tell us where we're going wrong. So without further ado, Diane, it's all yours.
Well, as Ralph said, my name's Diane, CK40I, and I was proposed last week to join the OCDX contest committee as well, which I thought was pretty amazing. I think I'm the first YL committee member they've ever had, so that's pretty incredible. So a little bit about what I'm talking about tonight, a little bit about me, probably a bit more about me. What is a contest? Why do we contest? Tools, contest logging and pitfalls, how to make an accurate QSO, antennas, what works best, what radio should I use, why do some people win often, operating skills, what do I do when the contest is finished, the Cabrillo example, and you guys are going to find out before anybody else does, the WA contest champion rules have been revised, and as of January next year, they will be substantially different for the multi-op sections only. So I was on the committee that did that. So a little bit about me. Who am I? Well, I've got 3 call signs, VK40I, VK4HH, and Alpha Golf 5, Juliet India, which if any of you know, that's a US extra call. I'm a very keen contester and DX operator. Bill, VK4ZD, and I were introduced to contesting in 1979 by Bill, VK6AS, Silent Key. Lots of stories I could talk about that guy, but you need about 3 whiskies to start off with. We've won many contests over the years as single operators or in a multi-op scenario. And as I said, I'm the current VK Shires contest manager, and I'm in the number 2 spot for the contest champions list for 2022, which has taken me up 3 from last year, I think. I was first licensed in Kalgoorlie in 1978 as VK6 November Golf Quebec. Never goes quiet. 19 people sat the exam and 1 person passed all 3 exams. She was 7 months pregnant and it was me. Bill had already obtained the VK6 NDZ 6 months earlier. I only did the course initially to make sure Bill had the course notes. Long story short, he was always going to get his ticket. I heard there was a course going at the technical college. Newly married, he did what he was told and went and enrolled, and I enrolled to make sure that he did it, and we both got licenses. So that's the way it happened. I upgraded in 1980 to the limited license and got VK6ZYL. I also had a second child, and Bill did the full upgrade to VK6ZX prior to that. I then obtained VK6KYL when the intermediate licence was introduced. We contested in VK6 as VK6 Sierra Zulu, sloppy zebras, slosh Zulus, I don't know, whatever we used to call ourselves, from 79 to 2003, were the first Kalgoorlie Scouts in the RD and won. We operated VK6SZ for Jota for 25 years at the first Kalgoorlie Scout Hall for the Goldfields District Scouts and Guides, and we were both recognised by Scouts of WA. We were appointed invigilators for the old WA exam back then. We moved to VK4 in 2004, and I obtained VK4 KYL, which I had to extract from a gentleman. I obtained VK4HH and then VK4DI once the CQ requirement was dropped. So we still do Jota. We've done it for many years with the Gat and Girl Guides. Because we're on 5 acres, they come out and camp at our place. They self-look after themselves. Bill and I just plonk them on the radio. In 2017, I decided that I'd challenge myself as being past 60, and I decided I'd try the US exams, and I passed them all in one sitting at Wyong, and I'm a US extra and an ORRLVE. That's a volunteer examiner. Bill's also a US general and also a volunteer examiner. We both have Certificate 4 of Workplace Assessing and Training. I was a registered nurse and midwife in Kalgoorlie for over 12 years. Had to give that up due to ill health. And I've been working in IT since 1984. Currently, I run my own company, selling and supporting high-quality antivirus programs to end users and resellers in Australia, New Zealand, Oceania. I employ a top-level program to do our remote support. So that's basically the background to me. Just another thing, Bill and I used to supply a server-based computer network for the Boulder Rotary Radio Club's auction for 16 years. And I was the database manager for that. And we were both awarded Paul Harris Fellowship by the club for that. Now into the guts of it. What is a contest? It doesn't go over more than 48 hours, guys. It's not this thing that is happening where guys on FT8 every weekend using a single letter, a 2x1. That's not a contest. That's not a contest. It isn't. That's a marathon, and it's a completely different thing. Contests are held over a period of time ranging from an hour to 48 hours, with short exchanges between yourself and other contest stations. VK contests are usually 24 hours. The exchanges can be between stations in your own country or with DX or both. And a sprint is usually of short duration of an hour or two, as for example, the Harry Angel, which goes for 106 minutes. And Bill won it this year because I didn't do it. The contest rules define exactly what the exchanges should consist of, the categories that can be entered, whether you can work within your own country, DX, or a mix of both. The rewards can be anything from a nice PDF certificate to a plaque. If you have a look over there, you'll see I've got an OCDX plaque that I won a few years ago, and I've got a couple of folders full of certificates from way back when, sort of recently. There is a great Wikipedia article on AR contesting. Just Google ham radio contesting and get the wiki. It is brilliant. It explains where contesting came from, the whole lot. It's absolutely brilliant. If I did that, we'd be here till tomorrow night. Why do we contest? Fun. It's fun, especially if you're in a multi-op situation. It's a huge amount of fun. It's social. And a multi-op station can be used as a teaching tool for new operators. So you can have somebody sitting next to you and they can be learning while you're doing it. You can work the rare DX stations that aren't always active, because there's a lot of them come out for like the WPX or the IOTA. They really, stick their heads up, and you can work some great stations then. It builds up your listening skills. Working rapid fire contesting is great training for working DX pile-ups. So if you're trying to work an SSB DX pile-up and every man and his dog, including the Japanese and the Indonesians, are calling, and you've been used to contesting, it will allow you to pick those calls up much more easily because your brain gets more attuned to it. So even if you're planning a special event or a SOTA or a POTA, you'll have been training yourself to pick up the QRP or weak signals. And it gives you you need to understand how propagation works, and there are online tools that will help you see the grey line and, all those things. We use a program called W6EL Prop. It's pretty old, but it does give you you put in your K, your SFI, your sunspot numbers, a couple of other things, and then it will tell you what band should be open when or where, but it's never gospel. And remember, use it or lose it. As much as people whinge about contesting, it keeps the bands active. The amount of people that whinge and complain when the contests are on, the bands are full. Yeah, the bands are full. That's what we want. We want the bands to be full so we don't lose them. And it can also give you more context for DXCC and other awards, e.g. the IOTA award, the WPX award, which is, worked all prefixes, the worked all stakes in the US, and the grid squared, etc. So you can get all of those by getting in and contesting. So the tools, preparation. Don't leave to the last minute. Plan at least a month or so out from the contest. Now, Alan, VK4, I printed mine out, and this goes up on our wall. Alan, VK4SN, prints a contest calendar on his website, and the WAA prints it in AR in November. Now, if you get the digital version, you can just print those 2 pages out. And if you have a look at mine, it's got circles and highlighter on the contests that we want to go in. You'll notice none of them with us will be CW. Read and understand the rules. I recommend reading through the rules at least twice, if not 3 times, because they change. They change each year, or they can change. And as we all know, COVID-19 threw everything out the window with contesting. And each contest has different rules for exchanges. You need to clearly and correctly understand the exchange for the contest you're in. It may be a serial number. It may be your age if you're working one of the Japanese contests. It's the number of years if you're in the RD. It's the number of years you have been licensed. And if there's more than one person operating that station, you take the number of years of the person that's been licensed the longest. In our case, it doesn't matter. It's 45 years, whatever. But that's the other thing. Or it can be your CQ zone. Run the maximum power that your license allows, unless it's a QRP contest, or you're going in a QRP section. Be aware, and this is the thing that some people don't understand, you can only use one call sign in the contest. Operating the club station and then going home and entering as a single op is not allowed. The reason is that if your club wins a multi-op section, like you would have done for John Moyle, and one of you guys goes home and then wins the single op section, you can't get contest championship points for both. So you can only put your single op log in as a check log. And the reason for that is it helps validate the other station's contacts and reduces the workload of the contest manager. I'll actually show you in a bit how the VK log checker works, because being an admin, I've got a login for it. Special event stations. They can go in the contest, but they have to be a check log and a check log only. They cannot win. The current LCD prohibits it anyway. All right, so check your equipment. I know one club that had an amplifier fail because they didn't test it, and that was in the last contest. I don't know how they went. Make sure all your transceivers, antennas, amps, and software work correctly in advance of the contest, preferably the week before. There's nothing worse than firing up the station only to discover something isn't working as expected. Test the logging software. We've been there when issues arise at the start of a contest. It's not distracting, it's a downright nightmare. And it interferes with the effectiveness. It gets you in the wrong mindset. Oh, the computer's not working. Oh, the transceiver's not working. What's happened to the antenna? You want all that garbage done beforehand. And Use a good headset and foot switch. Keep these guys free for logging or for picking up your coffee. Don't, you know, as I said, I've got some hot headsets over there. Print the rules out and use a highlighter to choose what suits the mode and category you want. I've actually got an example in the next slide. When you plan a multi-op station, make a roster with times, bands and operators well in advance. And if you've got a good SSB or CW op, use them wisely. Plan the times that it's going to be busy to use the guys that are really good in either section. If somebody's no good at CW, don't put him on CW. Put him on SSB. If somebody's good on SSB, don't put it, you know, make sure you use your people wisely. Make sure all the operators are familiar with the equipment and the logging software. Don't leave it until the day before or the day of the contest. Each operator needs to be well prepared and not just turn up on the day and say, oh, I've come to give a hand. That doesn't work. All that does is cause whoever's in charge to have to do other things and take valuable time away from actually operating in the contest. Make sure your PC's time is accurate. The contest login programs calculate UTC from the PC's date and time. So when you're setting your software up for logging, it'll ask what you are. Now here, of course, we're 10 hours. Minus 10, isn't it? Yeah, minus 10. So we UTC minus 10, and that's what you set your software up for, and it will automatically log it correctly. So don't fiddle around thinking you've got to set your log to UTC. You have to set your computer to UTC. That's
The opposite.
you got to have your computer correct
For
for our time. And check your audio is not studio quality. Now, I know there's guys out there who have equalizers and you know what. That's fabulous for day-to-day contact. Contesting needs something else. Contesting needs the highs, more punch. What you want is punchy audio. We've got a Flex 6600. It's got two settings on it. And we switch between whichever one of us is operating because I need more lows and Bill needs more highs. And you can actually tell the difference. I mean, we don't sound anything alike. Thank God. So a lot of radios also, you need to make sure that you've got some compression, you know, an adequate amount of compression. And the other thing you can do is when you're setting up, get someone to listen on one of the many Kiwi SDRs to monitor your audio quality. There's one in VK5 and one in VK2. Somebody told us we had shitty audio, and we checked on the SDR, and yes, it was. We actually, at that stage, had a bias issue on the amplifier, and Bill would transmit for 5 minutes, and then the whole thing would go to hell in a handbag. So, you know, you don't make an assumption. All right, this is what I do. So you can see here, I've got the start time. I've got what bands are being used, what the points are. It's made up of the blocks, how you're allowed to do it, finish time, and multi-op, multi-transmitter. So just do that. Just print out the rules. I had it in a, this is in Word, so I just highlighted it. You know, you need to print it out and use a standard old-fashioned highlighter or get smart. Right, pitfalls. This is the biggest issue for contest managers worldwide. Never, ever use a standard logger. I don't care how good you like HRD, QRZ log, log4OM, DXLab suites, RumLog for Mac, and there's another Mac Logger DX, I think is the other one. They don't work. They do not convert to Cabrillo. They don't track the context. They don't export to Cabrillo. And if you use one of them, you'll become disillusioned with contesting. It's not the manager's job to correct your submitted log. I had one guy that I had 8 attempts to get his log right. No wonder I'm grey.
What is that, Colin?
No. This was somebody completely different. It was a guy in VK3, actually. Online Cabrillo converters are notorious for not converting to Cabrillo 3. Some will go to Cabrillo 2. some will just completely screw up whatever you try to put in it. So go for a dedicated contest logger. Ditch the paper log. Another big issue, I had a guy who hand wrote everything, then put it into his log post contest, only about 20 contacts. He didn't edit, he didn't put the right times in. No matches came up. His log was useless.
Who was that, DCM?
No, I can't remember who it was. No, I can't remember who it was. It was last year sometime. So, you know, the issue is if you're paper logging, one, especially if you're not the person that's going to be transcribing it, and somebody's made a mistake and they've rubbed over it, they've altered it, you're not going to know that you work VK4ZD or VK4DI because somebody's mucked it around, and it just takes too long. It takes away your concentration. Oh, only use a dedicated contest logger. The contest log can be exported as an ADIF. So because it's an ADIF, you can import it into HRD, DXLab, whoever. You can import that ADIF file into your normal log. So don't think that you can't quite do it the other way. VKCL still works for some contests, but the drawback is that it can no longer be upgraded, as Mike has passed on. His family has not released the rights to do anything with it. And from what I understand from the guys that looked at the programming, it's spaghetti junction. So, and it's really only suitable for single operators. If you're going to use it in something like the VK Shires, you have to follow the instructions on the website, WIA website, saying how to import the new database 3 file. There's instructions on how to import the DB3 file that has the correct Shire IDs. If you don't do that, it'll never work. So realistically, it was great in its day. Bill and I learnt on this. It was only in the last 3 years that we've actually gone over to using N1MM all the time. N1MM. The beauty of it is that it's supported by multiple programmers from many countries, including, I think, 3 guys in Australia. Some in VK6, I believe. It's easy to use. We'll give you a quick demo of it afterwards. I've set it up for the RD here. There are other contest loggers out there, but they often don't have the VK-specific contest in them. And this is going to be your issue. I found a really good Mac contest logger the other day, but it doesn't have anything for Australia in it. And if somebody wants to work in a VK contest, they're going to actually have to contact the guy and get him to do the programming. So there's not enough interest in VK contests outside of the OCDX for that to happen. Now, Alan VK4SN has written the UDCs, the user-defined contest files, for the majority of the VK contests. Laurie VK4LJ has also helped to fix up a couple of bugs. If you go to Alan's website, it's https vk4sn.com/contest/N1MMVK, and all the instructions are on there. What to do, how to do it. Print it out, do whatever, but follow that because it just works. Now, why do contest managers want the logs uploaded in a specific way? In a nutshell, the vklogchecker.com website does an automatic cross-checking of logs. And if they don't match, points are lost to both stations. So if you gave me the wrong information or I copied the wrong information, we both lose points. The log checking is taken from an international standard used by the ARRL, etc., etc. A clear example was when a club decided to change their Shire ID in the DK Shires contest. The contest rules state a specific exchange. You cannot change it, as the log checking program conforms to the current rules. It just goes in and says, no, invalid contact. That's it, you're done. Now, I'm just going to go to the VK Log Checker website. I wish I'd brought my mouse with me, but I didn't. Now, I'm going to go to, where am I?
an active link, you just click on it.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it here, Bill. So here you can see these are the results.
Nothing up there.
What? Oh, it should be.
You have to minimise that.
Oh, fiddle. Now bring that up again. This is what can you? You can't see it still. Oh, bugger. Bugger. How am I going to fix this, Bill?
You know, if you close the presentation, stop the
I'll have to stop. Yeah, I'll have to.
doubt, use a hammer.
No,
The
it's all right.
bigger the doubt, the bigger the hammer.
It's all right.
And now you've got your screen. Let's go.
That long this time of year.
It's not showing, Bill.
Maybe to drag it across the
I'm not having a mouse. Bloody hell. Oh, hang on. I'll bring up.
Duplicate your screen.
No, I've got a better way of doing it. No, I've got Opera on here. No, I've got it in Opera. That's why. Ah, sheesh.
You're
I'm
clicking on it. What are you doing?
trying to bring it up.
It's on your screen there, not on that screen.
Yeah, I've got it here.
Yeah.
Just duplicate the screen.
You need to change the.
Oh, I didn't check this. Gotta go into settings, don't I? And this is a night. Well, anyway, light. What I'll do later, if anybody wants to have a look, I'll bring it up and show you. I think that's probably the easiest way. It's a nuisance. That's my fault, nobody else's. I didn't. I know.
It's normally Russell's.
No, it's all right.
But we just keep.
All right, let's start again. I'm not normally this disorganised, but there we go. Go down to. If you want to have a look, I can do it up here afterwards. Right.
Don't try Windows K and see if it doesn't bring up the options. For the screen.
Yeah, me and my finger too.
Windows icon K.
Windows K.
Yeah. And then on your laptop, it doesn't bring up the different options for the sharing of the monitor.
No, not there. No. Probably because I've got it normally on two monitors switched, and I haven't got it that way here. It's all right. That's not. All right, let's go again. So, right, how to make an accurate QSO. Always use the correct phonetics. Oddball ones cause confusion. And we had a similar case to what I've listed here, where there were two guys in VK2. One's call was W something, and the other one was double something. And it sounded like the same contact. You don't say VK4 double Y, Victor Kilo 4 Yankee Yankee. Don't use anything except phonetics. And the other, because not everybody understands, and D's and C's and J's and, other letters aren't always clear. Use your phonetics. I get really cranky if people don't, and I will only reply to them, Victor Kilo 4 Zulu Delta, is that correct? Before I go on with the contact. Because if he goes, Victor 4 ZD, I go, what the hell was that? Listen before replying to a CQ contest call. Nothing's more frustrating than being asked what's your call after having given it multiple times in a CQ contest call. For example, I will call CQ contest VK4DI, CQ contest VK4DI, CQ contest VK4DI. Let go of the microphone. Then somebody goes, this is VK4ZD 59001. What was the call? Can you imagine how frustrating that is? Especially if you're in a big contest like one of the US contests, and some peanut comes back and says, what was your call again? I can say, oh, sorry, I missed one part of it. I've got VK4 Zulu. What was the last letter? That, you can get away with that, but not, what was your call? And don't machine gun the call. Not, VK4 Zulu Delta. What was that? VK4 Zulu Delta. VK4 Zulu Delta. And there is one guy who does it. And I know who he is, and it drives me insane. And every time he does it, I go, is that you? Da, 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 da. Yes, that's right. Please slow down. I notice he hasn't been in many contests recently. You want the station listening to you to get what you say the first time so that you don't waste time having to repeat. It's less efficient and it leads to logging errors such as incorrect calls and or exchanges. You must enunciate clearly. You're better off taking a longer time to say something than machine gunning it because you'll get the contact. Yeah.
Can I buy into your discussion here? I noticed that, yes, there's a phonetic list. There's 3 columns. One of them is how to say it. We don't teach that because we are English. But you understand where I'm going with
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of contestants, like if you're talking to the Japanese, you say Zanzibar, not Zulu. You can do that. But what I'm talking about is somebody who goes, and a classic example,
Sugar.
VK4 sugar, VK2 sugar radio, VK2 simply sensational radio. Silly rabbit, I call him, but anyway. So, but that's it. Just use phonetics. Don't use dumb phonetics. Don't use silly phonetics. Use acceptable phonetics. You know, golf in Germany and Zanzibar and Zulu you can get away with. You know, golf in Germany.
The point here really is that if you're saying a call sign or you're trying to give phonetics to a particular station that may be a Spanish-speaking station, they may understand different phonetics and be able to more easily pick it up if you give a particular type of phonetic rather than the one that we commonly use all the time.
Yeah.
It's really
I'll-
better.
I'll comment on what you're saying in terms of you look at the X one in that thing. It's X-ray, not X-ray.
Yeah.
And that's the point.
I think VK4, you can get away with it. I mean, it's a matter of making sure that the person at the other end is able to understand what you're saying by speaking clearly and not speed talking. The worst thing and the Americans are really bad at it, they speed talk. And you go, what the hell did he say? We've gone, just as a quick sidetrack, we've recorded our contest call. And we just press a button on our computer and it sends out the CQ call. Clearly, every time. Same thing, no matter how tired or you are, and I can call CQ and I can have a cuppa. So there you go.
That's not real radio, Ben.
And make sure you're aware of the required exchange. Right. So there's 2 types of QSO exchanges in contests. The first one's the casual one. So I'll go CQ contest. This is VK4 Victor Kilo 4 Delta India. VK4 Delta India. This is VK4ZD. VK4ZD. You're 59003 QSL. Yeah, Roger. QSL 003. You're 59005. Thank you. CQ contest. Bang. The other one is when you're really gunning it. CQ contest, VK4 Delta India. VK4ZD. VK4ZD 59003. QSL 59. Thank you. Thank you. 59005. CQ contest. Now this is how you win contests. Not this. Seriously. Doing that's okay in the RD and some of the Aussie contests that you're really slow and you can have a chat in between. But if you're going to need the big ones, this is the way to do it. Short, sharp and shiny. And you notice that the 599 is the report and 005 is the exchange. And I'm going to tell you right now, the guys that whinge and complain about the signal report being 5 and 7 and whatever, in a contest it doesn't matter. If you can hear them, they're 5 and 9. They've got to be, because you've probably got a pile of other people. So, you know, you're 4 by 8. Right, okay. What works best is antennas. Well, the best antennas you can afford are those that fit into your property. Simple. Dipoles, inverted Vs and EdFeds are not always directional enough for a contest station. They may work for field days and portable, but they're not always good enough for dedicated contesting. You'll find some of the big contesters that go out and do field days take out Yagis and Moxons and all sorts of stuff. VK4 November Mike, Andy has got a trailer mounted tower he takes out with an antenna on it, and he wins well. Monobanders are preferable. If you can afford a monobander, if you can do it, go for it. Multi-bands are a compromise. Now, case in point, we have a 13 element Andy Coleman comm antenna on 10, 12, 15 and 17. We also have a 2-element 5-band lightning bolt quad, both of which are compromise antennas. This one's how high?
Almost 20 metres.
Almost 20 metres, and the other one's 21 metres.
The quad's 20 metres and the other one's about 17.
Right. We do have a 4-element delta loop, 10 metre delta loop in transit, and that's the tower's up, and it'll be going up about 20 metres in the air. 20 and 40 metre Yagis are in production. In fact, we're splitting an interlaced 20-40 metre Yagi originally manufactured by Andy Coleman back in 1995. That's how long we've had it. So, height is might. Antennas need to be at least a half wavelength off the ground to offer an adequately low angle of radiation, as you're all aware. We are lucky. We are on 5 acres. There's plenty of tall trees. Ken VK4QH is on 10, Alan's on 3, which is why, we sort of all get out reasonably well. So we have two 160 metre horizontal delta loops and this crazy 320 metre horizontal loop that goes into our neighbours down there around their back up and whatever. We've got trees of 30 metres high. Most of these antennas are around 20 metres in the trees. We use the 106 metre, you didn't pick that typo. We use the 160 metre loops on 40 and 80 and the 320 on 80 and 160, and it works. The two loops work completely differently. We've got a north loop and a south loop, and they have completely different characteristics, even though they're both the same height in the trees. And remember that NVIS works for VK contests, as we've seen with the loops. The loops offer both low and high angle of radiation to good effect. Right, this is us. This one over here is the lightning bolt quad. We have another one of these puppies, which is waiting for the 10 metre antenna, which is going to look like this. That's coming from Frank VK5KB. This is this year's VK Shires. As you can see, we're both very tidy at our desks. So Bill's got the Flex, both got twin monitors. This is mine. I've only got an IC 7300 at the moment.
That's not a pen and paper in front of Bill. He's not paper logging, I hope, guy.
No, he's actually, if you have a look, he's actually in the middle of a Skype. He's doing a Skype QSO with a friend who's been sick in the middle of it. When I took it, he was writing notes. Right. These puppies on the side here, what are they up to, 3 kilowatt? But these guys, these come from Canada. They're individual bandpass filters. They're not fully, we don't keep them wide up, but as you can see, there's one for 10, one for all the bands. This thing here is a 403, 4 Oscar 3 alpha antenna switch. It's managed by clicking on one of these on our desktop. We both have that, so if I want to go to the quad, I click on quad. If Bill's on it, I can't go there and I yell out, release the quad. Makes it really easy. Our previous model is that manual switching 6-pack over there. That was a pain in the butt because you had to lean over and turn. This is just click.
You were pointing at your husband.
No. And the other thing that we've got is a remote control for the quad's rotator display. So if I want to take it, and you'll see it's got 2 colours there. One will be me, one will be Bill. And I can either choose the DXCC, or I can just go to it, go around there and off you go. And you can choose short path, long path. So it's quick and easy for antenna. I mean, we've spent 45 years getting this shack together, so it's not something that happens overnight. What radio should I use? Okay, this is often an argument between the Yaesu ICOM factions. It's really not something I'll get into. I like ICOM and Flex. We've had 10 Tech, Kenwood, ICOM and Yaesu and now Flex over the years. Each had good and bad points. Don't let the fans of any particular brand muddy your decision. Get what suits you. The best radio is the one that you can afford and that has the ease of use suitable for your own particular requirements. If you expect a contest often, check out your friends' stations. You know, go out and see what they're running and see whether you like the radio that they're using or whatever. You know, as I said, the Flex 6600 SDR is our primary radio with the ICOM 7300 as mine. I've got an SPE 1.3 KFA and Bill's got an RF kit amp. Preferably use a radio that's got more than one VFO. Now, the old radio I had was an ICOM IC736 and I just used to go A, B on the buttons. Do a search and pounce. Oh, no, there's nothing there. Go back and call. So if you've got something with more than one VFO, you can do that. And that maximises your chances. And you don't lose your frequency. Why do some people win often? Preparation. Test your equipment. Know the rules. Plan who does what in a multi-op scenario. He who fails to plan plans to fail. Isn't that what they say? Use the best radio that you can afford that suits your needs. Good antenna switches, good antenna systems, antenna headset foot switch, listening, all the things I said before. And the other thing is enter every contest you can so that you can build up your skills. Now, there's one guy that had a fair bit of trouble last year in the VK Shires. He was foundation call and not long got his license and he couldn't quite get it. And I was on Facebook with him all the time, in the middle of the contest even. And he asked me a lot of questions. And because he did that, and I've got heaps of these here, I put together last year contest checklist. I've got a bunch of copies here. Basically what I'm saying here is all here, but just in simplified format so you can all have one of them later. The more you're in it, the more you learn. And you learn every time. Be sure the radio and the log talk to each other. This ensures the frequency and time are accurately logged. Because if you're using N1MM, the moment you hit the enter key, it's there. Date, time, frequency. Get plenty of rest prior to the contest. Don't stay up boozing the night before. Keep hydrated and don't drink alcohol. I know a lot of the guys do, but it's not good. It dehydrates you and it dulls your senses. Have as much as you want afterwards. There's usually a bottle of champagne when we're finished. To win, you simply must spend as much time in the chair as possible and continue to call until the last minute. The reason I said this is because I know that this happened this year in one contest. Alan VK4SN finished 10 minutes before the Trans-Tasman. He was way ahead of Catherine VK7 Charlie. In that last 10 minutes, she overtook him. And he was like, oh, why did I stop? Well, Alan, you know. Run full legal power if possible and make sure you have a clean signal. Big thing to do. Make sure you've got a clean signal. We, as I said, have got Ken, VK4QH or VJ4T, Alan 4SN in close proximity like this. We're here, Ken's a couple of streets away and Alan's over here.
Yeah.
And we all work without interfering with each other. We will see a big signal, go, oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, that's Ken, I'll work him. Then go back. Easy, as I said, easy antenna switching is a must, especially for a multi-op station. You don't want to be unplugging and plugging and whatever. That's if you're doing, if you're doing more than one. And always submit your log, no matter how poorly you think you went. Well, you gave me an example of that earlier tonight. Log your own contacts and avoid unnecessary logging errors. Work dupes, it's easier than arguing about a contact. If somebody says, I worked you and it's not in the log, say, look, I'll work you anyway and put them in. Because one of those contacts might not have been there. So what do I do when the contest's finished? Cabrillo 3 is the internationally recognised format for submitting logs. Modern contest logging programs output to Cabrillo 3. Export the log to Cabrillo 3, save it. Don't ever try to use ADIF. The log checker will reject it. Don't change any headings unless there's an obvious issue and you know the fix. That was an issue a couple of times with people using VKCL. They changed their headings and their logs went back 2 or 3 times to be corrected. The majority of the VK contests are now managed through vklogchecker.com. Submit the log. Make sure you check the file is correctly submitted. Once it's been properly submitted, you'll receive an email confirmation. If the server says there's an issue, read the description of the fault because it will tell you, correct it and resubmit. Why? It helps with log cross-checking and allows the contest manager to manage it more efficiently, and especially in the RD, it can boost your state's total. Oh, we don't want VK6 or 7 winning again. Convert the contest log to ADIF and then put it into your favourite logger. So, this is, I truncated our log for VK Shires, but this is what comes back as a confirmation email. So it says, thanks for submitting your log to the VK Shires. You've been entered into the VK multi-op and you're going. Now, if you wanted to go, you put in multi-op and you should have only been single op, you can change it and then resubmit it and it will override it. And you must make sure that you put in the operators. Whoever operated needs their name, their call sign in there. Now, this is the other thing we were talking about, the Peter Brown Trophy. Whoops. So the contest champion updates for fairer scoring across all contests and categories. We aimed for a simpler and fairer scoring, and in doing so, the use of the number of logs submitted per category was relinquished in favour of assigning points. So you know how for multi-op you had to have so many entries so you could get so many points? That's gone. The multi-operator station's points have been updated towards award those who sit on the radio the longest, and points are shared between the number of operators, i.e. if 2 operators participate within a multi-2 station and they win, then they're eligible for 200 points, 100 points each as they sat into the entire contest. So what we've done is the multi-2s and multi-1s have got a maximum of 200 points. The multi-3s, multi-multis have generally a minimum of 3 operators, so there's 300 points for that. So this is what we've done. We've done a whole bunch of, the 60 plus John World Field Day categories have been rounded down to 6 because it was basically everyone won a prize. And the Ross Hull's been taken out. I think there are only half a dozen logs this year. It's just not. And special event stations, like we said, aren't eligible. So this is what you get if you're first place in a category for a single operator. If you're a multi-op, this is how it works. First place is 200 points divided by the number of operators. Second place, it's 150. So we've tried to make it more fair. So if you've got, 3 or 4 guys sitting here, instead of only getting 48 points each, you might be able to get more personal points allocated. I was going to run N1MM, but check out Alan's website. The OCDX is automatically included. Now, let's see if I can get this. It's only 25. Bloody hell. I've done all right, I'll take it to a single screen. I don't know, it's just one from Microsoft. Phil, you're quicker than me.
What do you want to do?
Oh, I need to get into the display.
Duplicate.
No, I've got to take it off duplicate. It's already set for 2 monitors, that's why.
It's not an extension.
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, I want to far out. That's not what I wanted.
Close it.
I will. Wish I'd brought my mouse. Where is it? What do I do? Can't remember.
Does anybody want a raffle tickets to?
It's a display.
Try and do this.
Oh, somebody got somebody quicker at doing this than Bill.
Marty, get up there.
I just need somebody to just split the screen, take it back to one screen. Basically, I run 2 monitors off
Normally it just duplicates
this screen.
the screens, but we don't want that.
Yeah.
I'll just swing around.
I just can't. I'm tired, that's all. Oh, and I forgot my mouse.
Sharon, no, not me. You got a monitor shortcut here? Okay. You should have a
Should be in display for monitors or something. I know I set it up ages ago.
yeah.
What I will do is I'll give the guys some of these. Are they going? Some of the guys going or what?
Normally it would be a shortcut here for different screens, but it's not there.
No, this isn't that.
It's not readily available, so you know you got to know where to look. So.
Some of those guys going, are they?
Display settings.
Are the fellas going?
He's getting there, Diane. Hang on.
So, set up multiple monitors.
I only want one. Windows 10.
No, you're not going to get it quickly. So they're losing it.
Yeah. So,
We'll just carry on regardless.
I just can't find it then.
oh,
Right.
flip. No, where it is. It's not display settings, I'm sure. That should be it. Extend access multiple displays, extend these displays. Show only on one. Show on two.
Show on two, yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
Keep it changing.
right. I can't see it on here now.
Oh, can't you?
See
how it says show only on 2?
Where is it? Show me, Bill. Show only on 2. Oh, Fiddle. What happened?
Oh, no, you just changed it.
Well, you're in my way. I can't see.
Well, you just changed it, though.
How did I do that? Oh. Frig it. Nor do I. It disappeared on me.
I don't know.
I've lost the screen here.
Just close that X up the top. Close that. I don't know where you went to before to get it all.
If I put in display, I put in monitors before. Where is it?
Monitors. Keep going.
Yeah, where is it? Can you point it at? Where, tell me where.
IT. Keep driving. Duplicate or extend. Yeah. Can you do that?
Can I can't. Where am I?
Bring down 2 or 3. Down arrow. What'd you do?
Down arrow, like you told me to.
No, Diane, you didn't.
Flip, I can't see it. It's too hard from here.
I'll give you a hand, Tom.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I'll see where it is.
I can't see it. Eyesight's not good enough.
Hey, Ralph.
Sharp? Oh,
Just scroll back.
there, thank you. Yes.
There you go.
Right, here we go. Righto. Okay. Bring up N1M. All right. Okay, after that crazy break, where I showed my ineptitude,
What are you doing?
I'm trying to bring up N1MM.
Right, we'll just type it down the bottom.
I don't need to, I've got it there. Okay, this is N1MM. Now, as you can see, I'm just going to go into the config of this because what I'm going to show you, here's your station. You put in your station data, and as you can see, I put my data in here. This isn't connected to any radio, but I've got everything in here that I need. Now, you always put in ARRL DX for Australia because it's an American program, so they want all sorts of stuff for the ARRL section. So just put in DX, and you can put your other stuff in there. So I'll get rid of that now. When you're using N1MM and you've set it up according to Alan's instructions, in the Australian contests, even though you've put in your Shire ID or your years operational in the RD, it will still only show serial numbers. So ignore the fact that it's a serial number. When it exports to Cabrillo, it will have it correct because of the way it's written. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show you. And he gives me 001. There. Right, so you can see where you're at. Nice and simple. You can also, there are things that you can look at. You can see, if you play around with it, you can see the multipliers you've worked. You can see one of the things we usually keep up is the score summary. So this will tell you what you're doing on whatever band. There's so many windows in here. If you go into view.
So Guy, did you say this interfaces with the radio as well?
Yes.
So it runs to the radio or reads from the radio?
Reads from the radio.
Yeah, and actually, you put in the radio that you're using, and it'll then want to communicate with that radio. You set it up correctly, and
As long as you've got the correct
Can you do your band changes that on the radio? Can you do band changes on this as well?
you should do it on the radio.
Do it on the radio.
It'll automatically change that.
But it's got heaps and heaps of, I mean, it's very sophisticated, and I haven't got time to do a whole run through it tonight. I mean, you could have a whole night on N1MM, but have a look at Alan's website and read the instructions thoroughly on what you need to do to make it work for the Australian contests, because he's put in a hell of a lot of work.
What's the networking side of it like if you've got multiple stations?
Works a treat. You just have it up on both stations. Now, what you do is you'll have a run station. You'll have two stations, station 1, station 2, and they will be up on the screen, and we can talk to each other even. You may have seen, I can actually type on here and send a message to Bill, and he can type to me and send a message to me.
So I think the question is, so if we've got a club call sign like BAR,
Yeah.
we can run one station on 20 and one on 40?
Yeah.
And run two separate
That's what we do.
Absolutely.
Two separate logs or one?
No,
log?
it's one log, but it's combined.
Computers, network.
Two computers network. And you have one is set up as the master.
So they got
So
around
they're going to go through a router or something?
They're just going to be networked.
Two ways networking, one's through your router and one's using a cable that's got different pinouts on either end.
See, we just go through. we run a Wi-Fi network in the shack.
We set up, say, out the back here in the field.
Yeah, we
So
just
we're
take just
looking at-
a Wi-Fi network will work. So long as you can just talk to each other, and you've got a communications cable going between your laptop or your PC
Yeah,
and
what you guys were saying was a network as well. But you can have a network that you can plug in multiple computers into, or a network that has a single cable. It used to be that you used to have a crossover cable going between the two. That's not necessarily the case now, but look, you can do it either way.
so Bill and I will have it up on each. Now, the other thing that's really good with N1MM is, and this is something to note, if you're doing more than one operator. So say Bill decides to operate. So give me a call sign, guys.
VK4DCF, he's very active.
We all use that.
So, okay. So if I type, hang on.
This is pretty important.
If I type op on, do that. VK4 Delta Charlie Mike. Right? That will then log every contact that you make. And when the next operator comes in, you do op on and put the next person in. So you know it automatically keeps a link of a record of who's done what.
But if we're all operating under the club call sign,
You still put your own in, because we run as VL4R and I go up on VK4DI, Bill ops on VK4ZD. So because it's the individual operators' call signs that have to go in.
So often in the contest, I use that. There's a thing called the station ID, which is the VAR, and there's an operator ID, which is the individual person. And often both need to be in the Cabrillo file. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes. The Cabrillo, when it exports, will have the call sign of the club, and then it'll have operators, VK4ZD, VK4, whatever. It'll list the operators. If you've done the op on, it will list the operators. It'll do it for you.
Oh, that's hard work, man. Don't play with the file if you don't know how to do the commands in the program.
Look, N1MM is extremely usable. It's very once you learn it, it's quite simple. What did I learn the other day? There's a couple of things. Anyway,
if you've got to running two computers, will your numbers update?
yes.
Or okay, so you put in your first number might be 1, and then by the time you put your second one in, it might come up as 5.
Well, probably won't, because generally in those contests, if you're running 2 stations, each station will have its own series of numbers.
Okay.
But you'll see them come in as different.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can see. So what you'll see up here is you'll see the calls, and you'll see a different frequency, and then you'll see the number sent. And if there's more than one station, you'll see which radio did it, 1 or 2.
Yeah, okay.
I think part of this conversation is that often you'll call 1, you'll call 2, you'll call 3. And
Yeah.
it comes down, but if you're using a multi.
Oh, yeah, but no. It runs the first station, 1 through. The other station, 1 through.
Separate.
2 separate numbers.
Okay.
So it's a separate sequence, but it will be for bands. So it will band. So if you are only working 20 metres,
Yep.
all the 20 metre ones will go. So then you go to 40, it'll restart the numbers. But if somebody's worked 40 before, it'll pick up after that last number. So if somebody made 40 contacts on 40, and then you've gone off and worked 20 on 20, and then you came back to 40, it'll go 41. So it automatically logs the sequence for you.
And it will sort itself out if the people on the 20-meter radio, for some queues wide 40 meters as well, it will sort itself out as well.
You would never ever do that.
You know how to do that?
You wouldn't have 2 stations on the one band. would you?
I think I've seen that happen before.
Yeah, but like I said, always choose who's doing what and what radios to do. We sit down and I'll say to Bill, okay, what bands are you going to do? What bands am I going to do? So he said last time he wanted to do 20. I said, okay, I'll do 20. He said, okay. I said, I'll do 20 and 40. he did 80 and 160 or whatever, or we switch, but because we've got smart switching, we can't use the wrong antennas. Okay, so it does seem more technical. Now, the thing I will do now that I've got this working, I'll quickly duck back into the VK log checker.
Just while you're doing that.
Yep.
like, With your little network, so we've set up at the footy field at the back.
Mm-hmm.
Does one of the computers need to be connected online, or can we run it as a standalone, non-connected?
They're connected to each other, do they need to be on the internet?
Doesn't it, we don't need to be on the internet?
No, you don't need to be on.
For timekeeping,
You need to be on a Wi-Fi network or network
With each other, but
some
not.
kind of
Yeah.
network.
They've just got to be networked. So
You don't
So then you don't
want
need
to- you don't want it to go out on the internet, because the internet, the amount of time it takes you to get the information off the internet, you could have done it call.
and the only time you would run to the internet is if you're running N1MM and you're telnetting onto the band map for people to look for you, and that does work. But you can, there's all sorts of no, you don't have to. Okay, so I'm going into the shop. Okay, so if you have a look here, I'll go down to this is the actual finalised results. Okay, so this is what I see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to our log, and I can show you on our log what I see.
Is this as the administrator?
Yep, this is me as the contest manager. Now have a look. What you'll see here. It's in blue, means he's put a log in. No matching contact found. So he didn't log that contact. So it's invalid. Yep. All right, yeah. Okay. Now you'll see that we've got one here that's got VK4FJEG. Says unique received call. What do? I go to ACMA to confirm that it's a genuine call. Because sometimes people miscopy them.
So if somebody else submits a log, obviously it doesn't match. The other side, it's just to volunteer my time with Scott, and I don't submit a log. Is that going to be come back as I'm not?
Yes.
No matching contact?
Yes.
found?
Yes.
So it becomes absolutely essential that if I'm going to respond to somebody in the contest,
You put in your log.
I'm putting in a log.
Yeah, even if it's only a check log. If you only made a dozen contacts, put it in as a check log.
How critical is the rest of the information?
Oh, this? Quite interesting, actually. Because as you guys are probably aware, with the VK4BAR one, where they were wrong. See now, there's one that's duplicate, a dupe. So invalid, no points. Right? Now, if I go down to, if I can find VK. Now, I worked at, and you can work overseas stations, which we did. I made quite a few, but no matching contact found there. Papa Alpha called me. We do go and check that they're genuine as well, and they're not,
They wouldn't be submitting logs, would they?
One of the Yanks does. So
Points for all of those were
yeah, you get them because they're a unique call.
right.
But it's like it's a matter of. Oh, I'm just going to see if I can find the one.
So do you check out from ARL or the .w database or from QRZ, some of these overseas?
Yeah, I check them. You check them.
Yeah.
You go and check that they are valid. Now the other one, the one of you that where VK4BAR gave 3 different Shire IDs, I knew about it,
So did we.
and for that reason, anybody who contacted BAR, I overrode it and made it a valid contact. Gave them the points because I knew that they copied it correctly and that the mistake had been made at the other end. So I can do that, but I've got to know the circumstances. If somebody's made a mistake and they let me know, oh look, I stuffed up, I gave this in the first half or whatever, I can go, okay, I've done it.
What's the tolerance on time? Couple of minutes, 5 minutes or something? Like, you know.
Oh, the tolerance is, I think, within 5, I think within 10.
Right.
It's got to be close enough.
Yeah.
And what I do to check, so as you can see, this, as I said, this is ours.
We'll be right down the bottom.
No, there you go.
Yes.
Now, see there, that was wrong. That was right. That one, the RS4 there was right. But because there was no log, I had to correct it.
We had to get one right, guys?
Yeah, that was after somebody said, I've just spoken to the manager, because he spoke to me across the room.
Yeah, I remember
He sits there and I sit here. And I said, no, there is an Excel spreadsheet.
We know that now.
It's been there for the last 5 years.
Yeah, but the issue came about because we didn't take it from that spreadsheet, so we looked on the net, and there were 2, even 3 different ones.
So we picked one, and then during the contest, someone told us, hey, you're using the wrong one. We rechecked.
Yeah.
And then we changed.
It's all right. I got one guy in Canberra who gave AC instead of CT. So, you know, there was issues there. So that's what that... Hey?
There's somebody here that heard of Forest Station, PK4WIA.
It's a wire, WYA.
No, WIA.
Yankee Alpha.
Yeah, it sounds like WIA.
Yeah, well, that's where you get the phonetics coming in. Exactly. See, so if you have a look here, another one, no matching contact, invalid. So the cross-checking is pretty critical, and the more logs that come in, the easier it is, and the quicker the results come out.
So did you, in the end, you entered our points in the end?
No, I couldn't. It was completely and utterly impossible, because somebody would have had to have sat down and entered them into either the VKCL or into N1MM and had all the dates, times and exchanges correct. And because the ones I got in all had been changed to RS4, that completely invalidated the log.
But we learned a lot.
So that's why I've come down to have a chat to you. And this is why I wanted to show you this, because this is, it's hard, it's programmed into the log checking. So,
Before you mentioned that penalties, so here you've got a line that gives us a point.
mhm.
If one of those lines happens to be a penalty one, would it say -1?
No, it's 0.
0.
Yes. See,
So how do you
this is no matching contact.
No, okay, you're talking about that contest. I've done it bigger for a different contest.
No contest gives you minus points. You only ever get a 0 or points.
Okay.
That your penalty is loss of points.
There'll be lots of points.
Yeah.
On both parties.
Yes.
Thank you.
If you both made a mistake, in the US ones, it's loss of points for both. In Australia, we tend to be a little bit more flexible. Like, as I said, as a manager, I had the option of overriding the BAR contacts and validating them for everybody else who had contacted them correctly, because I knew there was an issue. If I hadn't known there was an issue, they would have lost the points as well. Okay, so that's why accuracy is very, very important, and that's why you ditch the paper log. If I say it once, I'll say it a million times. Ditch the paper log. Bill, can you just bring me my Radio Sport headset? Yeah, there's a few headsets over here. One's my old Ultronics one that I used for ages. I've got a Hale Pro 6 and we've got a Hale Pro Set Plus, both of which...
By the way, this is how you can actually cheat and sit and listen in on
that's
somebody.
what I was going to do. Don't steal my thunder.
Stop stealing the thunder, buddy.
I get that when she first bought it.
So I didn't buy it. I actually won this at Dayton, and the contesters dinner or the DX's dinner, one or the other. I won mine. At the dinner.
Mine was presented to me by Bob File.
Yeah, no, this is a radio sport. It's not a hail. I won't give you up. Hey, you have no idea. All the DXpeditions use these now. They've gone away from hail. 2 reasons. See this here? If you're training somebody, can you just grab one of the other ones?
Okay, so piggyback.
You can piggyback another headset, just a straight headset, just an earphone. Something to hear and hear what you're hearing and learn. And these are the most comfortable headset you'll ever have. Can be same as any. This little button though is a transmit button.
How do you get your foot on it, Di?
You don't. I've got a foot switch. But if you're sitting back relaxing, you can just sit there and do this.
Just don't fall asleep with your hand.
Oh, I know the guy. I heard a guy once who fell asleep snoring on his microphone. But this radio sport is, to be honest, my favourite. I love the Hale Pro 7 until I won this. This sits much more comfortably on my ears. Ken VK4 QH went and got himself one. All the guys that do the DXpeditions now take these.
If the option there for piggybacking, that's really useful if you've got some separate login. That's how it.
Look yourself.
Never have somebody else log. Never.
Okay.
Ever. Never. Log your own contacts. You've got to log your own contacts. Seriously, you've got to log your own. And if you're running N1MM, all you're doing is you're typing in a call sign, hitting enter, typing in the receive call or the receive number, hitting enter, and you're done. It's type, enter, type, enter.
I believe this thing called, does it search for a partial call?
Yes, it does. It does, and it can come up.
Is it good, is it a contest to use that functionality? Because you can lose time.
No, in Australian, no. What the look up as you type in VK4, it brings up a list of all the VK4s. You don't have to do anything. It automatically comes up. Comes up off the database. It comes out of no. But what Alan has done in the Australian contest is we've got a name file that we import into N1MM for all the contests that have been in the Australian contest. So there is a names file. So if I wanted to, I could type in VK. If I type in BL4R, it will come up with Bill. And it will also put in 45, which is the year he's actually put in the number of the exchange for this year as well. So all you have to do is type it in, give your exchange net enter, and you're done. So
I'm being asked a rude question, how much?
they're not cheap. The US dollars.
And the Aussie dollar's gone down to 2.
They were around 600 or 700
Australian.
Australian. But if you're a dedicated contester, you say, I've been using your headset, Diane, I need one. Bill's got a different microphone to me, insert, because the Flex requires a different insert to mine. I've got the ICOM insert, but I can swap the insert out if I need to. And the cable is specifically interchangeable easily for whatever radio.
Consider how the cost of the antenna. This is a cheap part.
Quite probably, when I look at your antennas, yes, I'll agree with you. You haven't got $5 antennas.
But you have, we're running a Flex 6600 as well. That hurt my back pocket.
The 6,000 is the one we're at the station.
So anyway, so those are the sort of things that, make contesting fun, I guess. If you want to have a look at anything over there, I mean, I've got the manual switch there, which was what we used to use. It's still, we pulled it out and see, I've left the labels on it from when we pulled it out. So there any other questions?
What's the situation with remotely operating?
Remote operating. There are different rules in different places. I know that in the RD you can operate remote, but it's got to. I'm not sure that I haven't looked at the rules for the RD this year for remote operating, for logging in. But I will tell you that contesting remote relies completely and utterly on your internet connection. If your internet connection isn't good enough to control that remote radio, you'll have that time lag. So
And
there are.
if you're talking about different countries, where the transmitter is located, it has to be considered the transmit location. You know, like if you're going G/VK4ZD, and your actually transmitter is in England, then yeah, that's what you are. You're an English station.
So, is there any other questions
What
or?
about spotter or remote receiver?
No, you can't remote receive.
You can't remote receive.
You cannot use SDRs to receive. That's cheating. It's got to come in all on the one. There were people that were caught using SDRs and they got disqualified.
Wouldn't you be able to use one just in there as a pan adapter?
No. No, because you're using someone else's equipment. You're not receiving it.
No,
I know
no,
I'm
your own
that.
SDR.
Your own SDR in the same laptop. You just so it's spreading the signal, sending it to your receiver and your SDR. But you display that information. So you got a pan adapter. You can see where.
You can use a pan adapter, yes,
Yeah.
but you can't use a remote SDR.
What about the names of the different meanings those two, SDR and SDR?
SDR, software defined radio, which is what a flex is.
Yeah. Can't use the internet, you can use an SDR local.
I mean, this guy's asking about FTA.
But what about FTA? So I see there was specific words on the slides on this around FTA. I don't know if it was in the rules, somebody was talking about FTA and why FTA wasn't allowed. I'm just wondering, any thoughts on whether FTA will come into some of this training?
They were looking at doing a digital only contest. FT8 is really probably too automated. There isn't much skill in using FT8. I can sit in front of my computer all night, watch a movie, and I've seen him do it. He sits there and he works FT8, and he's watching a movie, and I just hear the computer going, and then all of a sudden gets off. Oh, do you want such and such? Right, he's on. Okay, hang on, give me the antenna. What frequency? And off we go. You know, FT8 isn't a contest in that form. It's not a contesting. RTTY and CW are seen as the digital versions, and then you've got SSB, of course. But yeah. So, is there anything else you want to ask? Anything that I've confused you with, or?
You've cleared up quite a few points. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, in 1974, my 94-year-old grandfather said to me, Diane, if you stop learning, you stop living. And for me, that's, you know, I just put it back on the table. Yeah. You know, and that's my motto for life. Doesn't matter how old you are, you can still learn.
Never stop learning.